This car was driven by Elvis Presley during his time here in Germany while he was at the army. So
Really?
this is the King's car.
But I thought that one was red.
In fact, Elvis painted it red. So
Oh.
when he got it, it was white,
Okay.
the same way it's now. And then there's the legend that every morning when he wanted to go to the barracks at the US Army, he got messages written with lipstick on his car, like, Elvis, I love you, different phone numbers, call me.
Oh, wow.
And he said, okay, no, I don't want this anymore, so I simply paint the car red, and then nobody is able to ride it with red lipstick.
Okay.
That's the legend.
And how did you get the car back?
We got in contact with Jack Kester, that was his name. And yeah, we managed to get the car back to Munich and managed to restore it the way it was. It came off the production line. The condition was pretty bad. Somebody took out the engine, put in an American V8, made a drag racer out of it.
Okay.
And then, so I guess there were like 6 or 7 color changes that we noticed while restorating the car.
Oh, wow. How many were produced?
In total, 251.
Well, my memory isn't what it used to be, but there were special moments when I started discovering that these cars had some history, that both of them had been hill climbed. And in fact, in 1958, I believe at Rossfeld, both these cars were entered in a hill climb, and this one, driven by Hans Stuck Sr., took first in class. A Mercedes-Benz took second, and Helmut Glöckler drove that one to third place. So they competed against each other. It's exciting to find out that there's something different or special about the car in the ownership or in that it was raced or shown. And yeah, that was fun. In particular with number 89 here, 70089. I had written to someone at BMW, and I said, all the photos that you're offering for sale on the web are either this car or its successor. Stuck was given a different car the following year. And I says, do you have any pictures of that car? And the license plate, I knew the license plate because I had the service and repair records. And Ruth Standfuss, I believe that was her name, wrote back and said, no, we have no pictures of any other cars. Well, she said, we have one that we don't offer for sale because we can't identify the car. No. And she sent a Xerox copy of the photo. And I said, I'll make you a deal. I said, you send me your glossy color print, and I will tell you what car that is. And I will send you the service and repair records for that car. Because those records showed the license plate that was clearly visible in the picture.
Okay, this is
and showed the serial number
okay
of
for
the
the
car.
ignition.
Yeah.
That's
It was advertised in Competition Press.
the gas door.
And
Thank you
it was
very
in
much.
Phoenix.
That's
Thomas Barrett,
We bring it
who specialized
you
in
back to
brokering
good.
movie star cars and very expensive classics, Duesenbergs, Rolls Royce, that kind of thing, Hispanics use it. He had turned it down because it had a Corvette engine in it. And I may have been the second guy to call about it. And the fellow who had the car said, well, fly on down here. And he said, if you don't take the car, I'll pay your airfare home. So I flew down. It was $1,500. It's the only way I could afford one of these at the time. But I've spent many, many years accumulating parts. And they cost more than the initial investment. Well, I wanted to restore the car to its new condition. And there were many things that I needed to acquire, many parts. Engine, transmission, dash instruments, toolbox and tools. And then, of course, someone had changed the upholstery, the interior was all changed. It was a kind of a project that many people turned down because of the expense. I think I'd heard something about Presley, but the fellow who sold me this car is still around in the Phoenix area, and he says no. He says I never had an idea it was the Presley. Gradually I started to run across some references. And I mean, I'd see a photo caption that would say that the car that Stuck raced in 1958 had been cleaned up and sold to Presley. Well, that's hardly proof, but that puts you on the trail. Well, a few years ago, I wrote a letter to BMW, knowing that I could never afford to restore these things to the condition they deserve to be in. And I said, look, I've got these two 507s, and you appear to be in the beginning years of running a restoration facility. And I had been there, and I said, it looks more like a repair shop, changing oil and spark plugs. And I said that this would be a good project, and you'd gain experience, and I would offer to accept this one back, and this one could go into the museum, where many, many more people could enjoy it. If I had a choice, I'd like to keep it, but I want to see this car restored, and all of them really, and I can't afford to do it. And so I'm happy about that. It's what's good for the car is very important. Actually, it's more special to me that Hans Stuck drove the car than that Elvis had his hands on it. I have a lot of respect for Hans Stuck. Well, I'll tell you something funny about it. People say, oh, why don't you write to Graceland? Those people don't even know we had the car. They know what they read in the magazines. And so I tell them things they don't know about the car. No, Elvis never bought a car in Germany like that. That's what they'll say. I have it in writing. Yeah. Now, if I were interested in money only, I'd be making a mistake in turning this car over to BMW. But I want to see it restored. I want to see people have the opportunity to see the car. And that's more important to me than me making a few $1 million. But this is timeless. This will never fade out of my mind. The beauty of that fender.
Behind from us is a BMW 507. This car was built in 254 pieces, and this is a special piece. It was used first for the expedition of the Frankfurt Motor Show, and then by Hans Stuck, by the famous race driver for hill climb races. And after that, it belongs to the famous actor Elvis Presley. Some club members found the car in the US. Nobody knows because Elvis had the car imported to the US, but it was used by a private person in Alabama, and then it was sold to Jack Castor. This car is in very rough condition, that's right, and it was used by a Chevrolet engine and a Chevrolet gearbox, and also a rear axle from a Chevrolet. We stripped the car first down to the body shell, and after that we disassembled the aluminum parts from the steel metal parts, and then we tip it in a fluid, and we look what after that exists from the car, and we replace this and also the special frame, but this was cutted for the Chevrolet engine. We restored a lot of BMW 507 for BMW Classic, and normally the aluminium part was built over a wooden form, and now we replaced the wooden form for plastic form, and we make the parts from this.
Schlitz, ja. Hier sieht man die Karosserienummer. Die Karosserienummer ist immer eine Zahl unter der Fahrgestellnummer. Also das heißt, die 079 hat die 078 Karosserienummer. Hier haben Sie zum Beispiel die 178 reingeschlagen. Hier sehen wir die Karosserienummer, die Nummer 178. Das heißt, die Fahrgestellnummer haben wir die 079 und die Karosserienummer war immer um 99 Nummern höher. Das sieht man hier sehr gut und auch hier am Rahmen sieht man auch wieder die Karosserienummer mit 178. Das zeigt, dass das die Originalkarosserie zum Fahrgestell ist.
behind from us is a BMW 507. This car was built in 254 pieces, and this is a special piece. It was used first for the expedition of the Frankfurt Motor Show, and then by Hans Stuck, by the famous race driver for hill climb races. And after that, belongs to the famous actor Elvis Presley. Some club members found the car in the US. Nobody knows because Elvis had the car imported to the US, but it was used by a private person in Alabama, and then it was sold to Jack Castor. This car is in very rough condition, that's right. And it was used by a Chevrolet engine and a Chevrolet gearbox, and also a rear axle from a Chevrolet. We stripped the car first down to the body shell, and after that we reassembled the aluminum parts from the steel metal parts, and then we tip it in the fluid, and we look what after that exists from the car, and we replace this. And also the special frame that this was cutted for the Chevrolet engine. We restored a lot of BMW 507 for BMW Classic, and normally the aluminum part was built over a wooden form, and now we replaced the wooden form with a plastic form, and we make the parts from this
gleich hoch, wo er verrostet ist jetzt. Das sehen Sie.
Und das kommt Luft raus. Jetzt kommt er auch.
Der Fernsteuerung nochmal in die Hand. So. Ja, bleib so von der Hand. Ja, das ist richtig.
Well, of course it's a very, very special day for us. The Elvis Presley 507 has arrived in Munich in the museum, and this is all about this special day. After the restoration, the car will stay here in the museum, so it will be available for the public.
Und eine Foto.
Passt. Okay. So ist die Position. Okay.
meinst du, oder?
Sonst kann ich nicht einfach machen, wieder auf, da ist wurscht, wie man das Proforma. Schön langsam machen, dass man es genau sieht. Schnell zufrieden, sehr gut. Das gefällt mir.
Oh Mann.
This car was driven by Elvis Presley during his time here in Germany while he was at the army.
Really?
So this is the king's car.
But I thought that one was red.
In fact, Elvis painted it red. So
Oh.
when he got it, it was white,
Okay.
the same way it's now. And then there's the legend that every morning when he wanted to go to the barracks at the US Army, he got messages written with lipstick on his car, like Elvis, I love you, different phone numbers, call me.
Oh, wow.
And he said, okay, no, I don't want this anymore, so I simply paint the car red, and then nobody is able to ride it with red lipsticks.
Okay.
That's the legend.
And how did you get the car back?
We got in contact with Jack Hester, that was his name, and we managed to get the car back to Munich and managed to restore it the way it was. It came off the production line. The condition was pretty bad. Somebody took out the engine, put in an American V8, made a drag racer out of it,
Okay.
and then so I guess there were like 6 or 7 color changes that we noticed while restorating the car.
Oh, wow. How many were produced?
In total, 251.